So when I was probably 9 or 10 or 11, we were at CVS or something. I wanted to buy a fashion magazine. And she said, you can buy this magazine, Sassy. It's the feminist magazine. I really wanted to be like a news journalist and I loved watching morning shows, and I loved Joan London on Good Morning America. Oh. And so I was like, I'm going to be and then I eventually, I'd say by the time I was in high school, I thought I want to be a fashion journalist and go to Paris and write about runway shows and all of that. It's very interesting that it's just such a random thing for this person growing up in suburban Pittsburgh to think that that's a job that you can have and that you're going to do it. And then I actually did it. It's kind of crazy.
Do you know how it got into your head? I mean, obviously your parents have love for fashion. You have a love of reading.
Yeah.
Are you consuming magazines?
So that was part of it. One thing was that my mom, I had gone to a trade school to be a radio disc jockey or whatever, which I found out years later. She never pursued it, but there was definitely, I think, on her end, we watched the news a lot. Like the news was on. Yeah, yes, she's a funny person, and she was consuming. She reads a lot and was consuming. She was a big consumer of media and movies. We used to watch like 3 or 4 movies every single weekend. The only thing I wasn't allowed to watch were horror films. So I never saw like Freddy Krueger and all that stuff. But I saw a lot of other really inappropriate stuff at 6 or 7 years old. But yes, so when I was probably 9 or 10 or 11, we were at CVS or something. I wanted to buy a fashion magazine. And she said, you can buy this magazine, Sassy. It's the feminist magazine.
You're so lucky. That's so different than all of our experiences.
Well, it was interesting because it was right before Jane Pratt had left Sassy. So I got a few issues of her. And I just remember being like, oh my God, this magazine is so cool. This is how I want to dress. I didn't know how I wanted to dress. I knew I wanted to try different things, but there was a pair of mustard colored Converse high tops, and I thought, oh, this is the kind of thing I'm interested in. These are the kind of, it gave me a personality. Mm-hmm. And from there I just became totally obsessed. I was really into, and I talk about this a lot on the podcast, but also sometimes write about it. I was obsessed with Liz Tilberis era Harper's Bazaar, and I've said this to Jane Pratt, like her and Liz Tilberis together were sort of, I thought, oh, I want to be them. I didn't really know. We didn't read we didn't have the New York Times growing up, things like that. I didn't know that you could be a fashion critic at a newspaper or really be a reporter doing it. I thought I would go work at a magazine and be a fashion news editor or what have you. But it was really early. I knew that was the thing I wanted to do. I didn't want to make the clothes. I didn't want to style them. I just wanted to write about them.
Yeah, this is like sending me back to our childhood because the world was so much smaller then too.
Yes, totally.
And so it's like you had that magazine. I remember I had like a tear out from InStyle with like a Lacoste shirt that I can still see with a jean short and an aviator Ray-Ban, you know. Good. But it's like you didn't just it wasn't as coming at you as quickly as everything is now. So
totally.
You just have these like memories seared because you have a magazine for a month that you're like consuming over and over again.
It's so true. And my husband's mother, I wouldn't say she collects Vogues, but she has a lot of Vogues. Mm-hmm. And every time he goes to visit her and he'll come back from Chicago, he brings me a few. And I was looking through, he brought me some from like 1999 and 2000, the last time he was there. And it just gives you this feeling that no media does now. Occasionally, but this just feeling of opportunity and the world being open to you. Mm-hmm. And it did feel so distant then. Mm-hmm. Now everything feels so close. It's harder to like get that magical feeling. But there is something about how important those things were to I'm sure there's images that still inform how you dress every single day. And it was a fun time to want to get into that business.